Hello YouTube, this is a video response to ScouseCaspaXS, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, her video entitled What Do You Think About Swearing? Before I talk about swearing, I'd first like to say that I think your idea of creating an open forum on YouTube is excellent. I've subscribed to you because I believe this in your idea as well, and I hope your little social experiment, if you call it that, goes well. I also believe that learning is important, and I plan to participate in as many questions that you ask that I feel I have a firm enough grasp to form an opinion on. Alright, so I'm going to start with swearing. And to start by talking about swearing, I have to talk about the nature of swearing, which is saying that some words are bad and some words are good. Now, I think that concept in itself is faulty, simply because words don't have a nature. Now, if you say that words said in anger are bad, like if I yelled at someone, "You're a fucking bastard," that's obviously a bad thing, because I am purposely demeaning him. Whereas if I said, "You're obese," and your father doesn't love you, that's also bad, but it doesn't use profanity now, does it? The point I'm trying to get at is that the only reason swear words are bad is because society says they are. I think that swear words are just as equal to use as any other words, as long as you're using them correctly. Now, some people say that's the point of swear words, is that they're incorrect, that they're offensive, and that's the point, and I say that it isn't. They're expletives, and they're sometimes used to hammer a point home. Like, for me personally, I usually use swear words in order to show that I'm excited or I'm upset about something. Like, if I saw a movie I really, really hated, I wouldn't say it was bad, I would say it fucking sucked. Because not only does it show my disdain, but it uses words which show even further disdain. Whereas, if someone were to say that my opinion is invalid because I use those words, I would say no, it's perfectly valid, and they were the perfect words to use in that situation, in my opinion. So, getting on to her first topic number 1, does swearing when making a point detract from a serious issue? And I say no, it doesn't. Unless it doesn't detract from the issue any more than using regular words incorrectly does. Like, if I were to say that movie was, or if I were to say that the movie I saw was too long, and it wasn't, then that would be incorrect. If I were to say, it fucking sucked because it was too long, and it wasn't too long, then my point would still be invalid, but someone would be able to understand how frustrated I was about that, for example. I don't think that... Okay. Sorry, I'm kind of recording this on the fly. Now I'm going to move on to point 2, which is there times when swearing is wrong? I think there are times when swearing is wrong for the same reason that I think there are times when people abuse the English language, or language in general. I think it is wrong to use a word in the incorrect context, or not for the purpose given. My example is, sometimes when someone is immature, I'm not going to say necessarily a child, but someone who is immature wants to shock someone, they will use swear words, simply because they know the adult in question will be shocked. In that case, that's a wrong time to use the swear word. In the same way, if someone were to... For example, I do hold language in a high regard, and so if someone were to use a word incorrectly in front of me, that would be the same as using a swear word incorrectly. For example, I do have friends who do this. They think it's funny that I wouldn't say I get upset, but that I do care so much about the English language that if they use bad word like screet, for example, that I do, roll my eyes and I can't believe you said that, which is the way some people feel about swearing. I'm not going to get militant about it, of course. I'm not going to yell or say that screet is a bad word. I just think it doesn't count as a word. Anyway. Now I'm going on to point 3. Should children be allowed to swear, and if so, how old is okay for them to swear? This is kind of a tricky one, because it is ingrained in me that swearing is wrong to a point. Like, to the point that if I heard a child swear, I would be a little shocked. Even though it goes against my ideology about swearing. Well, in principle, I think a child should be allowed to swear. If a child were to swear in front of me, I would be offended. Which is hypocritical, and I admit it, and I wish that I didn't feel that way, but I do. I do think, though, that I couldn't get too angry. I wouldn't be angry at the child for swearing. I would be more angry at my hypocrisy of the event. That being said, if I had a child, I would not raise them to swear. Simply because at an immature age, they would be likely to use it in front of people who would get offended. I am a strong believer in do unto others as they do unto you. And so I would not swear in front of someone who found it offensive, simply because I would not want them to do something that I found offensive in front of me. For example, my manager at work does find swearing offensive. When I swore in front of him, he said that he didn't like that and he didn't want me to do it. And so I do not do it if I know he's listening, simply because I don't want to offend him. In the same manner, I wouldn't teach my children to swear until I felt they were old enough to know when to do it without getting themselves into trouble. Because they would. If they swore in front of their teachers, they would get in trouble. If they decided to become religious and they swore in front of a religious person who finds swearing offensive, they would get themselves into some kind of trouble. And they also might do it to offend people for the point of offending people, which, as I said in answer 2, is wrong. I think I've pretty much, hopefully, got across the points I wanted to make. I have watched the videos by The Astounding Jake and by Lunar4, but I haven't watched Exaggerated Elegies because for some reason it didn't work right now. I have a feeling he said some of the same things I said. So if, for example, I said the exact same things he said, I wasn't ripping him off. But I definitely agree in concept with what Lunar4 and the Astounding Jake man said. So to wrap everything up, ScouseCaspaXS, again, I hope I'm saying that right. Please keep making these videos and I'll keep responding as long as I feel I have a grasp of the situation. And thank you, YouTube.